You always hear it on award shows, and people get up and they go, you know, never give up, it can happen. I'm not exactly that, I think it's not exactly right, because sometimes we create stuff, and listen, I've written 3, 4 other scripts, and I'm not sitting here talking about them, because even though I love them, and maybe some people like them, they weren't right, and they weren't maybe good enough, or they didn't reach people in the right way. And maybe if I'd won Lotto and someone gave $1 million, I could have shot them, but I don't know if people would have embraced them the way that I'm feeling they're embracing Home. And it's, it's just from a lot of hard work, and it's, although this is my first time directing something, I've written a lot of things, and I've been on set for 20 years. So that hard work, I think, has paid off.
It's just a dream.
It's not just a dream when you wake up fighting 3 staff members.
I used to be pretty messed up, but I'm not now.
Home is a drama, stars Benga Akinabi of The Wire, Joe Morton, Tawny Cypress, Danny Hock, a bunch of other great actors. It's about a man who's recovering from mental illness, and when the movie opens, he's in the midst of trying to move out of his group home, where he resides with a bunch of other people, and into his own apartment to rebuild his life, and by doing so, to reconnect with his son, who he hasn't spent quality time with for a while. My first gig was an office production assistant on a movie called Presumed Innocent. Harrison Ford, yeah, Paul Winfield, Raul Julia.
Okay.
Good stuff.
And that's when the bug bit?
No, the bug bit, I went to college in California. I graduated, I worked for a company called Oracle, a software company, and was completely bored there, and started taking film courses at this little community college, De Anza Community College, $25 a quarter, and they gave you a 16mm camera, and you went out and shot stuff. And right at that time, Spike Lee did She's Gotta Have It. And that, for me, I was a political science major, and it's funny because people would see me working in film, and they'd say, you're a poli-sci major, why are you doing this? But when She's Gotta Have It came out, and I saw this depiction of black people on screen that wasn't about blackness, and it was just people being people, and there was love in it, and relationships and comedy. I realized what Spike was getting at was that we could have more than what had been up to that point. Black exploitation of the 70s, which has its place, and now it's fun to watch, but it was revolutionary to me, and that's what got me into saying I want to make movies. Unfortunately, it took 20 years to do my feature, but it's a late bloomer, but it's hopefully it's worth the wait. But I got into the business to direct, and looking back, the problem with getting into directing early is that I started ADing on very big films, and I think I was always kind of a little intimidated by how you get it together and how you actually do the job. And then because I was successful as an AD, people call you for work, and that's what you start doing. So it wasn't until about 10 years ago that I did a short film. That was the first thing I actually directed. It was called The Window, and this is the first feature I've directed. As an assistant director, you don't direct actors. You set the background, you manage the set, you oversee the schedule, you make sure you're on time. So, the time aspect came in, that was a great asset to have, because when you do a low-budget film like this, with hardly any money to make it, and you do it in 20 days, we shot in 20 days in Brooklyn, all location, having that routine of being able to mobilize the troops, as it were, and get in and out of your sets quickly and kind of be efficient that way was invaluable. So that was the first thing. But I guess it's more kind of, I've internalized a lot of ways of when I see directors work, stuff that does work, that doesn't, trying to have a comfortable set. We have a terrific cast. It's a big ensemble cast. They did it for almost nothing. So it wasn't just, when people are getting paid, it's a job, but because everyone was kind of doing it for the love of the project and wanted to be a part, it was important for me to have an environment that was as conducive as possible for them just to have fun, be free. And as an AD, I think you learn how to do that when the situation arises. As a filmmaker, I wanted to firstly tell a story that hasn't been told before, and we have a lot of elements of that here. My parents were both social workers, so I've kind of always been aware of the MH, the mental health segment of society. And that's pretty much it. I love redemption stories, and that this is about. It's a hopeful story. It's about determination and how someone can overcome odds to succeed. With Home and the subject matter and the way that it's reached people and in a lot of ways started certain dialogue about mental illness and about fathers and homelessness and all the issues that are kind of hinted at and directed, you know, dealt with in the film, I feel like my political science is coming back because I'd love to continue doing films that, you know, that don't have guns in them and don't have, you know, an overabundance of sex in them and are about relationships and people and just people living, and that's my goal. I'm JONO Oliver, and you're watching Reelblack.